Start. Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So last class we completed the whole thing about superimposition. Adhyaropa we completed. Any questions, clarifications? Because the last three verses that we did last class is actually an introduction to this chapter, the next chapter. Yeah. So all clear? Okay. Yeah, if there is any question, shoot, don't hesitate. Okay. Karthik, any questions? You seemed a little, yeah. That's why I like the videos on, because I can make out.
So, Swamiji, I actually had a question, not particularly about last class, but the class before, where
no problems.
You touched upon Pramanam.
Yeah.
So, Swamiji, Pramanam, by definition, Anadhigatatvam, Abhaditvam, Jnana-Janakam, Pramanam. Now, the Abhaditvam part of it is, it should not contradict. As I understand, it should not contradict the other Pramanam.
It should not contradict others, nor should it be negatable. More than contradicting others, should not be negatable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Swamiji, then just, if I look at, for example, when I see sun rising,
Yeah.
my Pratyaksha Pramanam seems to reveal that the sun is rising.
Yeah.
But then through Anumana Pramanam, I find that it's actually the earth going around the sun. So isn't that an Abhaditvam of one Pramanam negating the other, Swamiji?
Correct. Not only that. See, Anumanam will always add something to Pratyaksham. And the final negation of the sunrise comes from Pratyaksha itself. You go up or take a satellite image, the sun doesn't rise. Therefore, the sunrise is a Brahma. Sunrise and sunset are really speaking not Brahma, they are Brahma, they are erroneous knowledge, which is to be negated. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah, understood.
Then, like that, if you look at it, all Pramanas are negated in Vedanta, isn't it? All Pramanas. Therefore, we make a difference. We say the Pancha Pramana are meant for Vyavahara Kale. Therefore, Vyavahara Kale Abhaditvam. That it will not contradict another Pramana, etc., actually comes in the term Anadhigatam. That which is gained by one Pramana cannot be gained by another Pramana. Yeah. Therefore, when there is an apparent overlap, as can happen in physics, etc., because Anumana adds something more, then we will see which is the greater Pramana in force. Yeah. Because sometimes it can happen.
It happens all the time in medicine. One test will show something, but in light of other tests, we reject the first test. So it's always Anumana. We have to depend so much on Anumana.
Yep. In life, in fact, even though we say perception is the last word, a lot of life itself is based on Anumanam. A lot of life is based on Anumanam. Inferential conclusions all the time. And our worldly knowledge is made up of parts. So some part may be open to Pratyaksham, some part may be open only to Anumana. This will happen all the time. In fact, the moment you say Anumanam, the data is Pratyaksham. The inference is Anumanam, but the inference is an inferential conclusion. The conclusion may be inferential, but the data is Pratyaksham. So this will happen all the time. All the time this will happen. That's how Anumana, Arthapati, etc. works. It can't work without data. And data is always Pratyaksham.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Don't worry, after this text, if we can meet live, I will do Vedanta Paribhasha. तो बहुत मजा आएगा प्रमाणा डिस्कशन.
So Swamiji, just to clarify,
Yeah.
The worldly pramanas seemingly can negate Shabda, right? But the way the Vedantins will explain that is say that the degree of realities are different.
Yeah, exactly.
Have I got that right?
Yeah, because what the worldly pramana, the pancha pramana, my pramanas, cannot deal with the self. It is anadigatam. The self is anadigatam. Okay. Therefore, it is not their area. That's how all speculative philosophies are dismissed, no? Because the very fact they are speculative in nature. The moment you say speculative philosophy, you know it is not final. There is no finality in it. That way, science looks as though there is a finality. But if you look at the history of science, it's always been correcting itself. No? There was a time when even the greatest mind in science thought world was flat. Until Copernicus came around in the Western world. Yeah.
It's temporary finality.
Huh? Yeah, it's temporary, yeah. Yeah. Because of the nature of things are like that, yeah. Okay. Remember, we are dealing with a mithya world. So if we are dealing with a mithya world, it cannot be satyam. Therefore, there cannot be complete finality in anything. Therefore, abhaditam, anadigatam, relatively so. As far as the pancha pramanas are concerned. Yeah. Because constantly changing world we are talking about. No? Yeah. So shall we go ahead then? Or any other questions? These are all good questions, this level of questioning is good. The class has a good level of questioning, yeah. Okay, having said that, let us start the next chapter, because he had said, from Mahabaleshwar also Bharati has joined up. Adhyaropa apavada nyayena guruhu upadishati. The guru teaches. The guru teaches by the logic of adhyaropa apavada. Okay? Adhyaropa apavada nyaya. So now he has to do the adhyaropa, he has explained. Now how is the apavada taking place? There are various ways of the apavada. Okay? He follows one paradigm. There are a half a dozen paradigms available for this. Okay? But first of all, he has to define what is apavada. Okay? This is good writing, If you are using a term, define it and then use it. Okay? He says, apavado nama Rajju vivartasya sarpasya Rajju matratva Vastu vivartasya Avastuna ajnanadehe prapanchasya Vastu matratvam. Okay. He says, what is apavado nama? What is called by apavada? Here it is. He says, Rajju vivartasya sarpasya. Rajju that has apparently modified to become the snake. Vivarta meaning apparent, not real change. Apparently changed to become the snake, sarpasya. Rajju matratva. Rajju matratvam. To understand that it is only Rajju, rope, not snake. The rope that appeared as the snake, to recognize it as only a snake, as rope. Vivartasya vastunaha ajnanade prapanchasya vastu matratvam. Then he is applying it to the what we under discussed. Okay. Vastunaha ajnanadehe prapanchasya vastu matratvam. The vastu, the reality that is there. Vastu can be an object, but in this context, reality. The reality that is there, tasya, for that, he says, ajnanade prapanchasya. Since the prapancha has been caused by ajnanam, etc., ignorance, etc., vastu matratvam, to recognize it, nothing but the vastu itself. Therefore, what was taken as avastu, the vastu was taken as avastu. Vastu is satyam jnanam anantam brahman. That was taken as avastu, the world, and me, the finite entity. Tasya vastu matratvam, to recognize that as nothing but the reality, satyam jnanam anantam. For which the example given was, the rope appeared as a snake because I did not know the rope. Therefore, when I recognize it as nothing but the rope, what I see as the snake is nothing but the rope. When I recognize that, it is called apavada. So similarly, I recognize that where the samsara is, where the samsari is, what is there is nothing but satyam jnanam anantam brahman. This is very important. This part of it becomes very important. Okay. What? That there is no transcendence involved here. It is not beyond anything. That beyond stuff comes into the picture only because you are not understanding the immanent aspect of the reality. Yes, the reality is beyond samsara, accepted. But it is within samsara also. How within? Exactly as rope snake. Where the snake is, there alone the rope is. Where will you find the rope? Where you see the snake. Very important to understand in Vedanta. Otherwise, you get Neo Vedanta and all that problematic ramifications of it. Yeah. It will become a different speculation by itself. You can be put on a trip all your life. Where the snake is, the rope is. Where the samsari is, the reality is. Where samsara is, the reality is. That I has to be recognized not as ahankara, but satyam jnanam anantam brahman. I. That I. That is why the negation of what I am not becomes so important. And the difficulty is in your functioning, the ahankara, the roles are important. With keeping your roles going, you have to keep negating and understanding. The difference between operating on your leg and a broken bone and operating on your heart. Leg can be isolated. Temporarily the Arteries can be tied up, a leg fixed, and arteries restitched and opened up again properly. Or arteries can be just bypassed also. Whereas with the heart, it is very, very much, because still beating. Even if you bypass the whole blood supply, etc., which they do, it's still a difficult job. So same way in Vedanta, that is it. To sit down in Samadhi and say, I'm not all this thing is easy, and have Samadhi experience. And believe me, if the pramana is not there, that Samadhi experience will be taken as Shunya. You find some very popular teachers in India talking like that. From nothingness, everything came. Kahan se logic hai? Supposed to be great thinkers. But I forgave him because he himself declares I am uneducated. Abhi kya bolega fir? Then where is the discussion about it? So, this Rajju Matratvam, Vivartasya Sarpasya Rajju Matratvam. The Sarpa that has appeared, you understand that as Rajju itself. The snake is not a snake, it is nothing but a rope. So, in the teaching, both has to be mentioned. It is not a snake, it is a rope. Apavada and Adhyaropa, Apavada has to be done. The snake has to be pointed as not true. Just imagine a situation. We are walking on a road and you see a snake and I see a rope. And you say, snake, snake, snake. And I say, rope. Snake, Swamiji, there is a snake there. Rope. I'm sure my students will say, go hang yourself with that rope. I'm seeing a snake. What's wrong with you? And that will be the right thing. Yeah. What you see as a snake is not a snake, it's a rope. Then basic Shraddha will come into the picture. Can you trust the teacher enough to examine that snake? Yeah. That Shraddha is part of Guru Seva. Sunita has written a nice article on our newsletter on that. I'm sure all of you are getting that. Yeah.
So Swamiji, I have a question.
Yeah.
There is in a sense three things happening, right? So one has to be the dismissal of the snake,
Yeah.
right? Recognizing it as a superimposition,
Yeah.
etc. So the negation of the snake as a superimposition is like at the second level. And at the third level, what is it also
Yeah.
has to be
Yeah.
clarified, right? So,
What you call as two levels is clubbed together as Adhyaropa.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you negate it, you actually define it.
Yeah. You define and negate it. In the process of definition itself, the negation has started. Because you're defining it as mithya, no? So the negation has started. That's why he deliberately used the term Vivartam. See, in later Vedanta writing, for the sake of clarity, they introduce these two terms. The Upanishad does not use these two terms. Okay? One is Vikara, one is Vivarta. I think we have seen it before, haven't we? Swaswarupa Parityagena Rupantara Pattihi Vikaraha. Giving up its own nature, becoming something else, is called Vikara. The example, famous example given is milk becoming curds. Okay. And the other example is Vivartaha. Swaswarupa Aparityagena. Without giving up its own nature, Rupantara Pattihi, it appearing as something else. Famous example is rope snake. The Upanishad doesn't bother. This was necessary because people are getting a little bit confused about it. For me, all vikara is also nothing but vivarta only. Only thing is, from the form you are going to a deeper form, into the content, into the next level. That is all. If you go to the next level, then all vikara will also become vivarta. That is why in Chandogya, when the teacher Uddalaka is teaching his son Shvetiketu, he says what? Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam mritikeva satyam. He doesn't bother about differentiating vikara and vivarta. The Upanishad doesn't bother. Yeah. Because you go one level deeper, you get it as vivarta only. Yeah. What you call vivarta will become vivarta if you go one level deeper. Book, modification of paper? Not really. It's all wood pulp only. Appearance. Yeah. You go one level, this goes off. That's all. Okay. That means what? The whole world is nothing but really speaking vivarta. Yeah. Whole world is vivarta. Even though functionally you see change. Vyavahara kale, you will say. Because you are not gone one level deeper, you are remaining at Vyavahara level. Vyavahara meaning form level. Because without form, where is function? All function, Vyavahara, depends upon form. Form follows function, basis of good design. Yeah. All basis of good design is that form follows function. Okay. Therefore, he says, this understanding, the Rajju Matratvam, is this thing. Yeah. Yeah, that definition I gave is, he himself is giving it here in the next verse. Tadakvam sattvato anyatha prataha vikaro iti udirate atvataha anyata prataha vivartaha iti udiritaha. Sattvatāha anyatha prataha. When there is a real modification, it is called vikara. Atatvataha anyata prataha. When the modification is not real, it is called vivarta. Meaning it's only apparent. It's only apparent. That's why the two examples he gives. Vikara when the milk is turned to curd, and vivarta when a rope is mistaken for a snake. Yeah. But as I said, everything is milk and curds. If you go at the molecular level, structural level, it's all vivarta only. Yeah. You just have to go deeper, that's all. Yeah. So, depending upon the current level of scientific knowledge or worldly knowledge, what is common in the world, you will use the terminology. Why? Because your intent is to make the person understand. You are not quibbling over terminology. We are understanding what is the reality. That is the important thing. Therefore, depending upon the level of current knowledge in the society, the language will follow. That means the Upanishad, the current language was, the understanding was better? Yes. Upanishadic time, definitely it was better. Because remember, we are stuck on the Western paradigm of linear evolution. So we think the succeeding is better than the previous one. Because we are stuck on that Western paradigm. All Oriental paradigms are cyclic. However, after Kali Yuga is Satya Yuga. Then the deterioration starts. And then it goes. Which follows the law of entropy very well. Entropy is a principle picked up from thermodynamics, actually speaking. but it is applied generally philosophically. What is entropy? Basically, a hot body. I don't mean the local film stars, okay? Hot body. Okay. In terms of temperature, heat. Okay. Will always lose its energy, heat, to the surroundings unless you keep supplying heat. That means what? The heat will decline in it. The energy declining will happen. In any system, it is like that. Now we extend this logic to any system. Every housewife knows this. Every homemaker knows this. You clean up your child's room, it's all in order. What happens next day? What did you do last night? Like, it's all disorder again. My table is in constant state of disorder, okay? Sometimes more, sometimes less. Itna hi hai. So entropy is a given. And if entropy is a given, then it is very safe to assume that Satyayuga, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, Sattva, Dwapara, Treta, Kali is natural. Because entropy, no? Kali Yuga is the worst of the lot. Worst of the lot. And it is cyclic. So after that, Satya Yoga has to start. Then entropy comes in. It goes on. Okay. So that is as far as the same. Now he is actually doing the process of going backwards. Going backwards in understanding will start naturally with your body, isn't it? He assumes that you know the roles are not you. Because he is addressing students of Vedanta. He had said, Putre nashte aham nashta putroham iti ati prakritaha. Extremely unsophisticated. Dullards only think like that, he had said. Okay, dullards think like that. Therefore, he is not bothering about the roles in this section of Apavada. He is starting with the body. Okay. Okay. Tata hi etad bhogayatanam chaturvida sakala sula sharira jatam bhogya rupa अन्नपानादिकम एतद आयतन भूत भूरादि चतुर्दश भुवनानि एतद आयतन भूतम ब्रह्मांडम च एतद सर्वम एतेषां कारण रूपम पंचीकृत भूतमात्रम भवति. One solid apavada. Okay. One solid going back. Ulata bahi Ganga re. Ganga is flowing reverse now. Okay. Wherever Ganga makes a U-turn like that, that becomes a Tirtha Sthanam. Haridwar, Rishikesh, etc. If you notice, the Ganga comes northwards, makes a loop and goes back south again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For that you may need to look at a satellite imagery for it to be very clear. Or go on top of Vaishnav Devi and look down. Vaishnav Devi in Haridwar, not Vaishnav Devi the other place. Okay, yeah. In Haridwar also there is a Vaishnav Devi. Yeah, a temple. It's on top of a hill and there is a rope way to go. You go on top and look down, you will see all the curves, etc. Yeah. Why? Because going back to the source. Okay. Okay, tatahi. What is that? Etad bhogayatanam. This ayatanam, counter for bhogaha, experiences. Bhoga is not always enjoyments, okay, so it's translated as enjoyment. For experiences. Your counter for experiencing is what? The body. Without the body, what are you going to experience? Bhogayatanam. Chaturvida sakala stula sharira jatam. Fourfold stula shariras. What is that fourfold? You'll see later. Or have you seen it before? Yeah, we have seen it before. Haven't we? Okay. Jarayujam, that which is born from the body, mammals, etc. Okay. Andajam, that which is born, twice born. Egg, first the egg is born, from the egg the thing is born, reptiles, etc. Then Udbijam, that which splits the earth and comes up, plant life. And Shvetajam, that which requires moisture to be born, viruses, bacteria, etc. That thrive in moisture. Fourfold. Physical bodies, okay? Physical bodies. And Bhoga Rupa Annapanadikam. Not only that, Bhoga Rupa. Okay, you have a counter for experience. What about the object of experience? Annapanadikam, food, drink, etc. By etc. you can put the whole world into it. Okay? Annapanadikam. Etad ayatana bhutam. Not only that, for both the bhoga sharira and the bhoga vastu, bhoga ayatana, they have to have an infrastructure. No? That bhoga ayatanam is what? Ayatana bhuta bhuradi chaturdasha bhuvanani. The 14 dimensions that we talked about. The 14 dimensions. Bhur, bhuva, suva, etc. Then tala, tala, mahatala, patala, etc. 4 up, 4, 7 up, 7 up, 7 down. All of them. That is what? The infrastructure for your bhoga. So the word ayatanam is used as a counter, is also used as an infrastructure, from where you will get the experience. Okay. Chaturdasha bhuvanani. Etad ayatana bhutam brahmandam. Means this whole brahmandam. Brahmandam is not the cosmic egg, okay? Because anda means egg, someone. Yeah. I was told that old joke, I have not cracked it for a long time. Somebody came to India to study Vedanta. Said Brahmandam. And he asked a local Pandit, Abhi, that Pandit's English is very dicey. Brahman, whole. Cosmos. Cosmos. Anda. Egg. Oh, cosmic egg. Oh, good translation. Cosmic egg. Then who's your guru? Ramakrishna. What is Ramakrishna? Ramakrishna. 2 names. Okay. Paramahamsa. What is Paramahamsa? Parama, divine. Hamsa, goose. So Ramakrishna, Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna, the divine goose. Late Brahmandam. Okay. Ramakrishna Mission people will be upset for me for cracking this joke. I am using it only to show how ridiculous translations become. How ridiculous your translation. If you are relying only on translations, that's how it will become. Okay. Anyway, therefore, Brahmandam, the whole cosmos, etat sarvam, all of them, meaning this whole 14 lokas, the denizens in all the lokas, the objects of enjoyment, of experience in all the lokas, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. Etesham karana rupam, goes into its karanam. What is this karanam? We have seen that before. Panchikrita bhuta matram bhavati. That means what? In your understanding. It is important to look at it like this. In your understanding. You look at the world. Look at your bodies. Look at the experience that you have through the body. Christmas, New Year and all. Nice rum, plum cakes, etc. मजा आया खाने को. All of them. Bhogayatanam. Bhogayatanam. And Bhogyam. And this whole Brahmanda. All there is what? Panchikrita Bhutani eva. All there is nothing but combinations of Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. Take anything in the world. How can Vayu and all become composition of the body? Vayu is only when you are breathing. No? I'll make you do some wrong pranayamas. Then see kya maja hota hai. It happened to me. I overdid something. The whole last 10 days. Because I didn't have Tai Chi class. So I said, okay. I'm lagging behind my practice. Let me catch up and just sing. And the Vayu element went haywire in me. 31st morning, I'm getting up, I'm feeling dizzy, I'm feeling a lot of gas. I said, what's happening to me? Dizzy and gas and this. I said, okay. Vayu element has gone haywire. So, get back, quieten it down. Use what are the techniques, this, that, use a Vayu Gulgya, air tablet also, all that. Okay. Then first morning I was okay. Vayu element can go haywire. You will understand it only then. Yeah. Similarly, any element can go haywire. Yeah. I knew this girl. Hyperactive and having lot of physical problems. Simple fire element had gone haywire. So she was going to the Western doctors, they were giving her steroids and things like that, and it is becoming haywire. And with steroids, she is not putting on weight. Most people put on weight with steroids. She is not putting on weights. I told her, go to this Ayurvedic doctor. And part of the treatment was to have a lot of ghee. Let the fire consume the ghee. She's still not putting on weight, but that it has come down. Because fire needs something to consume. If there is nothing to consume, it will start consuming itself, yourself. So, Panchabhutani. You take any object in the world, it occupies space, it has oxygen, etc. in it, nitrogen. Oh, it's made up of proteins, nitrogen, component of air. Agni, it has got a temperature. It may reflect the room temperature, that's okay. Apaha, anything can be dehydrated. Means what? This looks like it doesn't have water in it, right? But it has. And earth, anything solid is earth. So certain things will have more of one, certain. So permutation, combination can go on. Yeah, can go on. That means what you understand, the all that is there is Panchabhutas alone. This has to be clear in your mind, okay? It's not a theory. You have to look at it in this paradigm and say, this is it. Panchabhutani. Exactly like how you look at it and say, it's all nothing but molecules in motion. Another paradigm. Nothing but atoms and molecules in motion. Correct? That's easier because science has been ingrained into you. Not that you have understood science. If I talk about molecular structure, different molecules, except if you are a science student, nobody else will understand. Like in the first Vedic wisdom, I got the professor to speak. The physicists and the engineers in the group understood. Nobody else understood. Yeah, nobody else understood. Yeah. Well, because he was speaking at that level. That's why we all say, molecules, atom, we all go, Not because you heard it so many times. So, that is why We have used a simpler paradigm. Because all atoms, molecules, etc. also will have to come into this for affecting the world. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. That's why all over the Orient, this is the mode of treatment. Whether it's Ayurveda, Qigong, medical healing, energy healing, all of them will follow this. Yeah. And it works. Yeah. Oh, why does it work? Any system will work, okay? Because it's how you look at a system. With what eyes you are looking at a system. Remember, it's a mithya thing. So depending upon your perception, you can divide it like that. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this much is clear. Then what happens? Etani shabdadini vishya sahitani panchīkrita bhūtāni सूक्ष्म शरीर जातम च एतत् सर्वम एतेषां कारण रूपम अपंचीकृत भूतमात्रम भवति. Now what happens? These 5 gross elements together with whatever is manifesting, sound, etc., the qualities, okay? Sukshma Sharira Jatam. And the Sukshma Sharira that is born from where? Etat Sarvesham Etesham Karna Rupam Apanchikrita Bhutamatram Bhavati. All of them is resolved into what? Apanchikrita Bhutamatram. Apanchikrita Bhuta. Remember the Panchikaranam, etc. we have seen. How in permutations and combination all that is formed, etc., etc. How the mind and the sense organs are born from the sattvic aspect. Individual sattvic aspect creates sense organs. Total sattvic aspect creates the mind. Individual rajasic aspect creates the karmendriyas. Total rajasic aspect creates the prana. Yeah. And the tamas aspect undergoes modification, panchikaranam. All that we have seen. So therefore, all this is what resolved into apanchikrita mahabhutani, tanmatrani, in other words. They are called tanmatras, just to differentiate it. That alone, because panchikritam there is a mixing up. Apanchikritam is tanmatras, that alone. All right. Okay, fine. All right, okay, fine. Then sattvic aspect, rajasic aspect, all that thing has come into the picture of creation. All right, here it is. Etani sattvadi guna sahitani apanchikritani utpatti with kramena tat karna bhuta ajnana upihita chaitanya matram bhavati. So the etani sattvadi gunani, all the sattva, rajas, tamas, etc. gunas, along with them the apanchikrita bhutani, all of them goes into the cause. What is the cause? Maya Shakti. Okay, ajnana, but not only Maya by itself. Maya upahitam brahman, ajnana upahita chaitanya matram bhavati. It all goes back to Maya shabnam brahma jagat karanam brahman. Maya sahitam ajnana sahitam ajnana upahitam brahma chaitanyam ajnana upahitam chaitanyam. He is reversing the trend. Cognitively, in explaining Adhyaropa, he explained the process of how it is happening. Now he is saying, look at it in reverse order. This is how Pralaya takes place. look at it in reverse order, how it goes backwards. 1 to 10, 10 to 1, like that. Go back. Go backwards. Reverse order. So it becomes what? Maya upahita chaitanyam, ajnana upahitam chaitanyam matram bhavati. Okay. Then what? Etad ajnanam, ajnana upahita. Yeah?
Swamiji, can you explain that again? That last part was not clear.
Which one?
What you said just now.
Okay, he said, just like how you see everything is going from the creation, in the process of creation, how did it start? It started with Ajnana Upahitam Chaitanyam. From there, Sattva, in that Ajnanam there is Sattva Rajas Tamas. Therefore, from that Sattva Rajas Tamas of Ajnana Upahitam Chaitanyam, you got Akashadi Panchabhutam. Then from each mind, etc., prana, etc., all came. Then the bodies came from the tamasic aspect. Panchikaranam, etc. Now he says, go backwards, go reverse. So all the Panchabhuta, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, etc. will be resolved into Ajnana Upahitam Chaitanyam. That is nothing but Ishvara. Jagat Karanam Brahman. So Ishvara has manifested himself as the world.
Swami, just a question out of curiosity that when we say that the Jagat manifested, Brahman manifested as Jagat, everything came at the same time because it was a thought and then the whole thing
Correct.
came out.
Correct.
So in Pralaya also it will be like that, or it's like a gradual Apanchikaranam is gradual, or like how it is manifested, the Pralaya will be...
See, a few stages are explained. A few stages will have to be there. See, as the cosmic form, as far as creation is concerned, certain things will be automatically on. But within that, there will be evolution, etc. No? It is not that all the human beings, animals and all were created simultaneously. He created the infrastructure for life to manifest, evolution, etc. played a role within that. We are not dismissive of evolution. So, there are two aspects to it. One thing, the whole thing comes on, and within that, a lot of things happen. So, similarly in Pralaya, the same thing will happen. Like, for example, they will say the earth element will have to go into fire. Most likely so. Why? The dying sun, etc., exploding into a supernova. Fire. Yeah. So, some sort of thing will happen like that. Yeah. So, with global warming, Earth will become water world first. Apa Prithvi, na? So, Earth will become water world first. After water world, the explosion of the sun, fire. Then only air will be left, cosmic air. By that time, our bodies will be long gone. But Sukshma Sharira will remain. Because this Pralaya will start with earth. Then it will go to other lokas. So Sukshma Shariras will be there. Then other things will have to go. Some way of looking at it, okay? When we are trying to correlate with science and this, some way of looking at it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So from Ishvara, the whole thing is manifest. Okay. This is exactly what Krishna showed figuratively and literally in Vishwarupa Darshana. Everything is manifest from me. I alone am everything. Okay. All right.
Swamiji, one small clarification.
Shoot.
When the translation refers to uncompounded elements, it means the tanmatras, right?
Yeah. Apanchikritam. Uncompounded is a translation of Apanchikritam. Yeah.
So Swamiji, this resolution, I mean, what we're talking about here is purely cognitive, right?
Yeah, here for us it is purely cognitive because we are not waiting for the end of the pralaya for apavada. Yeah. We are doing apavada right here. So in our understanding.
Yeah.
See, in a way, you could use modern science also and come to this. I'm just giving you an alternate paradigm, okay? If you want to talk about this to purely Western minds. See, an Oriental mind, not a problem. Yes, Panchabhutas, somewhere it has gone in. You speak to a Chinese, even though Qigong, etc. is banned in China, okay? They are considered evil. Qigong was developed in China, okay? And one of my friends went to China and he asked his guide. You always given a guide when you go, even as a business traveler, okay? The guide has got two functions. One is to interpret, etc. for you, and one to ensure that you remain on the straight path. So, he said, I've heard about Tai Chi in China. Tai Chi, it's all done by old people. I said, okay. He said, okay. But what about Qigong? Oh, Qigong is evil, we don't do it. Qigong is only energy work, is considered evil. Exactly like how the Maharashtra government has banned Tantra. You can't establish a temple without Tantra. But the Maharashtra government, in their limited understanding, thinks only that Limbu Haddi you see in Hindi films is Tantra. You know that Limbu Haddi, the chicken, etc. that they wrote in old Hindi films? Yeah. They think that is Tantra. Yeah. Nah. I will get a tantric to do a tantric puja in the chief minister's house, he won't understand what is happening. On their own they won't call because they think Satyanarayana puja is everything. उसका आगे पीछे कुछ है ही नहीं. Satyanarayana puja is good. Okay, no one is denying that. Yeah. Anyway. Therefore, all right, I was talking about...
Can we say that, Swamiji, can we say at the Vyasti level, Nidra is, deep sleep is Pralaya kind of...
Yeah. I said example that can be given. Yeah. Temporary Pralaya. I think her connection is a bit dicey.
Nitya Pralaya.
So you're muted. Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back to her. As I was saying, we can give a modern science paradigm also. Okay? According to modern science, the current theory is the Big Bang theory. Correct? I don't mean the TV serial, I mean the theory in science. Okay? Yeah. So, super dense material or whatever that they are dicey about, what that state is, exploded, and time and space is born, and everything in time and space. And that theory gains currency because we see it's an expanding universe. One of the main reasons is to see this, that's an expanding universe. That means the universe is keeping on expanding because of the explosive forces. But the moment that explosion happened, in fact, even before the explosion happened, there is also gravity at play. Because gravity is the force of attraction between two bodies, directly proportional to the mass of the bodies and inversely proportional to the distance between. So now there is an explosive force at work and gravitational force at work. In all likelihood. Now gravitational force is now acting as a brake to the explosive forces The explosive forces are pushing the masses outside and gravity is acting like a brake. Correct? Because gravity is pulling it in, explosion is putting it out. Up to now, it is still the explosive forces at work are stronger. But a time will come when the explosive force will spend itself because of the gravitational force pulling it back. So what will happen after that? When the explosive forces are fully spent, the universe will start collapsing itself. Isaac Asimov, he has written a book called The Collapsing Universe. Worth reading. Simple. It is written for non-science students. So the collapsing universe, the world will collapse into a super dense matter again, because now gravitational forces are becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. Then this thing again has to explode. So again the cyclic nature of creation will keep coming back, isn't it? So it will go back into its state, come out of its state, go back into it. What is missing there in science is that Maya Upitam Chaitanyam. That is not there because science does not study the nature of consciousness properly yet. If at all it is studying, it's only studying the manifested consciousness in your brain, etc. Because it has to be physical for science to study, it has to be observable. And pure consciousness is not an observable entity, it is the content of the observer. It's not even the observer, it's the content of the observer. So that cannot be studied physically. Yeah. Therefore, okay, then what happens to the Ajnana Upitam Chaitanyam? Etad Ajnana Upitam Chaitanyam cha Ishvaradikam etad Adhara Bhuta Anupita Chaitanya Rupam Turiyam Brahma Matram Bhavati. But Maya is an apparent qualification for Brahman, isn't it? So Maya is there when creation is there. When creation is resolved, what will happen to Maya? That also will be resolved into what? Turiyam Brahma Matram. This is called Ishvara going back into Samadhi. Cognitively, what is there is only one Brahman. Turiyam Brahman. Turiyam Brahman, he is using the word Turiya to indicate pure consciousness alone. All that will be there is pure consciousness. Therefore, from pure consciousness, the whole thing is manifest. Into pure consciousness, everything is resolved. इतना ही बात है. This we have to see cognitively. In our understanding, we have to see this. This whole spread back into Ishvara, from Ishvara into the pure consciousness. That is non-different from you. Everything is resolved into that pure consciousness alone. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That is why in Taittiriya we have seen that Brahma Ved Apnoti Param starts like that, no? Brahma Ved Apnoti Param. Whenever a Brahman gains absolute, then what is Brahman? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Vedanahitam Guhayam. Who understand it as me, as I. So Ashnute Sarvan Kaman Saha, he is a fulfilled person. And this guy is looking at the world. What about the world? Tasmad etasmat atmanaha akasha sambhutaha. Then Akasha Adi 5 he mentioned. Then Prithiviyebhya Oshadhi, Oshadibhya Annam, plant life, from plant life food. Sava Esha Purushaha Annarasamayaha, therefore this body, Annarasamayaha, which I have taken as I. Because I have taken it as I, he points out Anyontaratma Pranamayaha. Then to show prana is finite, he gives you an imagery. left wing, right wing, head and tail. Then goes to Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Then he doesn't say Anyontratma, Ananda, so he doesn't say. He says Brahma Pucham Pratishtam. Brahman is the basis for the whole thing, he says. He doesn't say there is another Atma other than Anandamaya. He doesn't say that. Why? Because then you will think Brahman is something inside covered by layers. He says Brahman is the basis for the whole thing. Okay, now I generally don't like to mention names in my class or my recordings or anything. But I am constrained to do that because we have students from abroad also here, and they may and our Indian students also may listen to a speaker called Sarva Priyananda. He's a wonderful person, okay, wonderful person, and he has great regard for Arshavidya Acharyas because he does a lot of listening to our tapes, okay, our YouTube videos and all. He listens to that. He is from Ramakrishna Mission. So once speaking like this, there is one tape of him, video of him, which says, after this, after Anandamaya Kosha, the Upanishad is silent. He says that. He said it, I was there when he said it live. After that, the Upanishad is silence. Why? Because you have to turn inwards and intuitively realize Brahman. I said, Abhi tak kitna acha baat karta tha. Because he is really unfolding beautifully up to here. So beautifully he is saying it. Either gadbad kar diya, because he is trying to reconcile what he has heard from us from what he has learned in the institution that he is in. Problem ho jayega. So when you listen, be careful here. The Upanishad is not silent. The Upanishad is very eloquent by saying Brahma Pucham Pratishta. Brahman is the basis for everything. So look at it there also. The whole creation he pointed out. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. And then came back to Brahma Pucham Pratishtam, which he started Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. That is I. From there the creation and then back to the I. Adhyaropa and Apavada. Can you see that? When you studied it, I didn't point it out. Because that time don't confuse too much with all the technicalities. But it is the same thing coming back. Even Chandogya is the same. Sadaiva Somedam Gramasi Tekameva Dvitiyam Brahma. Before all this, what is there is one Brahman alone. Then he gave examples for Satya Mithya, etc. Then he said Satma Chatuke Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. There is nothing but yourself. So he went back because the Mithya nature of the creation is already established with all the examples before. Knowing one, everything is known. No? In that he established Satya Mithya. And then back. This Apavada can be done cognitively only if you understand Satya Mithya, not otherwise. Don't say Satya Mithya rope snake. Say Satya Mithya this body. Satya Mithya this mind. What is this mind? Nothing but thoughts born in consciousness, resolved into consciousness. Kidhar hai mind? Where is the mind? Nowhere. What is the mind? Doesn't matter. Where is the mind? Nahi hai, hai nahi hai. Manasam tu kim margai krite naiva manasam iti marga marjavat. You remember this? Ramana Maharshi, Upadesha Saram. Manasam tu kim, what is the mind? Iti margane krite, when you look, inquire. Naiva manasam, because I see only consciousness there. Where is mind? Mind is resolved into consciousness. Iti marga marjavam, the straightforward path. Mind is disturbing. Karke pranayam karo, ye karo, control karo. Nirodha, nirodha. Fight the mind and control. है ये नहीं है तो क्या है? What control are you doing? That's like protecting yourself from the mithya snake. The snake is mithya. Where is my stick? Why do you need a snake? Why do you need a stick when the snake is mithya? मिथ्यात्व is clear, क्या फर्क पड़ा फिर? But the problem is mithyatvam is not clear. Why? The mind is too scattered even to understand that. Therefore, थोड़ा ये सब बराबर करो, योगा विगा करो, थोड़ा get the mind, and then we can get into Vedanta. Yeah, that's why yoga is always a preparation for Vedanta. You will find that here in this book also, yoga is presented as a preparation. Yeah. But mithyatvam, the mind is mithya, abhi kya hai? In fact, if you understand the mind as mithya really well, if you see it as mithya and yourself as satyam, there is no need to control your mind. Why? You are satyam. Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra samadhaya. Wherever the mind goes, that mind is in samadhi. Why? The mind is always awake to the knowledge of what you are. फिर control किधर से? Control and keep it on Brahman. Everything is Brahman. When that is clear, where are you going to take the mind and keep it in Brahman? It's already in Brahman. Tad antike tad durastam. That's closer than the closest. I, and that is what is farther than the farthest also. Yeah. This is apavada. This is apavada. Yeah, but I am not decrying practices, okay? All the practices, sadhana, japa, etc., all that has to be done. Why is it has to be done? Because our minds are not still having the level to understand. However, until you get that level, all that is good. Keep your puja going, puja, japa going, keep your practices going. Do all that. What is known as so-called sadhana in Vedanta. Do all that. Do all that. Why? Because mind has to become mature enough. Look at life's experiences also. That's very important. Yeah, look at life's experiences. It's important. Pariksha Lokan is important. Yeah. Yeah. Vedanta is never taught in isolation. Yeah. Because you have to be mature enough to understand it. For that you need a few life's experiences. You need your intelligence as well as your emotional intelligence. Yeah. Without that you can't study Vedanta. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, one second, somebody dropped out by mistake. Okay, back again. Okay. With this, he is also now introducing the core of the teaching. It's actually the core of the teaching is already explained here. But the technical process, etc., he is now going to go. Therefore, he is saying, Abhyam adhyaro apavadabhyam tattvam padartha shodhanam api siddham bhavati. By this, abhyam, by these two, dual usage, okay, by these two, what is these two? Adhyaropa apavadabhyam, by adhyaropa and apavada. Tattvam padartha, the two words tat and tvam in the sentence tattvamasi, the tat and tvam padartha shodhanam api siddham bhavati. Okay, the meaning of tat and tvam can be clearly understood. Why? Because tattvamasi is a vakya. Vakyartha jnanam will take place only when padartha jnanam is there. This is basic in all language. No? Unless you understand the words, you cannot have clarity on the sentence. Yeah, sometimes contextually you will guess a meaning. That is contextual guessing, that is not clarity. It is not valid for technical understanding. It's valid for your vyavahara. That much is okay. You can guess context wise and find the meaning. That we do all the time, isn't it? When you're reading a book or something, you may come across a term which is you are not familiar with, and you will guess, okay, in this context, this is what it means. But the meaning may be much more. Therefore, padartha jnanam has to be there for vakya jnanam. And he says, by this adhyaropa apavada, the meaning of tat and tvam becomes clear. ये कैसा होता है भाई? ऐसा होता है? होता है. How? Look at it. Yeah, look at it. तथा ही अज्ञानादि समष्टे एतद उपहितम सर्वज्ञादि विशिष्टम चैतन्यम तद अनुभूपितम च एतद त्रयम तत्पाय पिंडवद एकत्वेन अवभासमानम तत्पद वाच्यार्थो भवति. All right. First is dealing with vacyartha, the direct meaning. What is the direct meaning? Ajnanadi samashti etad upahitam. Consciousness that is manifest in the samashti ajnanam, maya shakti. Therefore, having sarvajñatvadi vishishtam, qualities like all knowing, all powerful, etc. Eta chaitanyam. Chad anupindam te etat trayam taptaya pindavat. All these three, and anupitam chaitanyam, the pure consciousness that is there, taptaya pindavat, like a red hot iron ball, red hot fireball. Okay, pindavat ekatvena avabhasamanam tatpada vacyartam bhavati. That becomes the direct meaning of tatpada. Look at it. The example is very clear. Tapta ayapindaha. You put a ball of iron into the fire. After some time, what will it appear as? Someone, a child looking at it will say, ball of fire. It's a fireball. I am not using fireball in sailors' language or oil tankers' language. Okay, their fireball is deadly. Fireball is when a tanker or an oil drill catches fire. Can you imagine what will happen? The fire that comes out, the whole thing is one ball of fire. If you are anywhere close, you will melt. Yeah. Anyway, this limited fireball. Now, in this fireball, what is there? There is pure fire, there is iron, and fire and ball mixed together. Trayam, isn't it? When you say fireball, this is the direct meaning of the word fireball. All mixed together. Similarly, when you say Ishvaraha, Tatpada Vachyam. Tatpada always refer to Ishvara. Tatpada Vachyam, what is that? Ajnanam, Tadupeta Chaitanyam, the consciousness manifests in the total Ajnanam, Samashti Upeta Chaitanya, Maya Shakti. And pure consciousness also. All of them together refer to as Tatpada Ishvara Vacyartaha. Direct meaning of the word. Tatpada always stands for Ishvara. By even in Chandogya, the Karanam is indicated by Tatpada. Vacharambanam Vikaru Namadeyam. What? Pot, etc. Namadeyam Mritikeva Satyam. There he has gone into Satyam Mithya. So the Karanam is presented as Tattvamasi. In Tattvamasi, You are equated with Karanam Brahman. See, this is the technicality of the teaching. In the process of saying Tattvamasi, Adhyaropa, Apavada, everything takes place. The whole thing is summed up into one sentence. Therefore, if you know Tattvamasi and understand how the meaning takes place, all of Vedanta is there in your head. Wow. That's not bad, no? All of Vedanta can be in your head in one sentence? Yep. One sentence, Tattvamasi. If you understand Tattvamasi and you can explain it properly, technically and without technicalities, both you must be able to do, then you are a teacher. You can sit down under a tree and teach. Whatever you say will be as valid as Upanishads. That's why in many of the camps I prefer not to use a text. Take one sentence and explain it. Pura Vedanta aa jata hai. I pick up sentences like that deliberately. Yeah. Why? Traditional Vedanta is like that. You should be able to sit down under a tree and teach. The whole culture is destroyed, everything is gone. Vedanta will survive. And if Vedanta survives, the culture will come back. Because art, literature, music, all that will reflect the culture, will reflect as it is doing now. It will all come back. Yeah. Okay.
Swamiji, just a question.
Yeah.
So in the translation, it is mentioned as collective ignorance. So when I say collective ignorance, it is
Samashti.
It is, but I understand it because at the level of Ishvara there is no ignorance, no. So when I say collective,
So Maya Shakti.
do I take it?
So the moment you
Maya
say,
Shakti,
Samashti Ajnanam, Maya is implied. You can either use the word Samashti Ajnanam or you can use Maya Shakti. One and the same. Yeah. Samashti and Maya is one and the same. Yeah. Okay. Then what? Etad upadi upihita adharabhutam anovitam chaitanyam tad pada lakshyartho bhavati. Now, for this ajnanadi upahitam chaitanyam, the consciousness that is associated with Maya Shakti, total ignorance, what is the adharabhutam? What is the basis for it? Pure consciousness. Anupahitam chaitanyam. Pure consciousness he has put it as anupahitam chaitanyam. Tad lakshyartho bhavati. That becomes the implied meaning of the word that. So direct meaning is Ishvara. Implied meaning is Brahman. Are they two different things? No. Important to understand this. Okay, yeah. When you are looking at pure consciousness through Maya Shakti, you will call him Ishvara. When you are looking at the Swarupa, you will call it Brahman. एक ही बात है. Cognitively alone. Can you all understand this? That there is no real difference between Ishvara and Brahman. Except standpoint. Ishvara is a standpoint of Brahman.
Yes. Understand.
इधर ही सब गड़बड़ होता है.
No, understand. We understand.
हाँ, मार के सिखाया है इस Thursday students को.
So we have understood.
But they have understood. Yes.
Swamiji, I
Yeah.
am not clear on one thing.
Yeah.
In the analogy used,
Hmm?
of the
Taptaya Pindaha.
the fireball as you called it. I don't even know how to ask the question. What is the part that is not appropriate for us to understand that Ishvara and Brahman are one and the same? I'm not able to see that.
Because,
Are you understanding what I'm asking?
see, it can come because of a few reasons, background reasons. Okay? One can be because our understanding of Ishvara is conditioned by our upbringing of worship. Okay? Or I am more comfortable with the idea of Brahman than with Ishvara because I come from a very secular background, a non-religious background. In the Western world, I find this. Since the religious, they look for Hinduism and other disciplines for wisdom because they are junked their religion. They have seen the limitation of their religion and junked it. So they are not comfortable with the idea of saying God, Ishvara, etc. Anyway, God and Ishvara are not the same. They are two different concepts. So in them, they are more comfortable with the idea of Brahman. With our secular crowd also, this is I seen. That's why when I first started teaching, I never used to use too much of religious terminology. Because I was speaking to a non-religious crowd. Okay. Who had huge houses but not a puja corner. Imagine having a 3,000 square feet house and no puja corner in it. Forget puja room, no puja corner itself. Yeah. So I was speaking to such people. So there, don't blame them, it is our background and our schooling. Our schooling, ever since 1976, 77, when the word secular was forcibly impelled into the constitution, everything got thrown out of the education system. Do you know the original copy of the Constitution of India was written on great paper, specially printed paper for it. And along the sides, there are scenes from the Puranas, from Mahabharata and everything. It's available in Delhi, go have a look at it. Don't take my word. Now, if I bring out a copy of the Constitution like that, what will happen? Hindutva! Anyway, that apart. So, if we are coming from an extremely secular background or a convent school background in India, then I am comfortable with the idea of Brahman, not Ishvara. If I am coming from a religious background, I am comfortable with the idea of Ishvara, but Brahman is, I say Brahman is more than Ishvara then. Can you see where the mindset is coming from? Brahman is Ishvara, Ishvara is Brahman. It's two standpoints. Vastu kevalam drishtihi dvayam. When you are rough, what is there? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. When I am looking at Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman with the standpoint of creation, Ishvara. Can you see that? So in my functional life, more of Ishvara comes in. That's important because my functional life is based on Karma Yoga. Even if it is sannyasa, bhakti, etc. is there. Yeah. Without bhakti, how can you have sannyasa? Not possible. You can't live a life of a sadhu without bhakti. You don't know where your next meal is coming up. What are you talking about? Yeah. Annapurne Sada Purne Shankara Pranavallabhe Jnayana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati. Can't avoid. Yeah. Can't avoid. I also used to chant this in Rishikesh. Why? There are days you have to go without food. And it becomes a couple of days in a row, it becomes a little bit difficult to study. 3 days in a row, you have not eaten properly. Or had one meal in 3 days. It's a little difficult to study. देखो ज्ञान वैराग्य सिद्ध्यर्थम उसका बाद भंडारा ही भंडारा हो गया अभी क्या करें Okay. So what is there is only functionally lot of Ishvara will be there in your life. Cognitively become pure consciousness. Therefore both have to be integrated together. Ishvara and Brahman is one. Functioning Ishvara, cognition, nothing. Two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. Think yourself as a great as a big, huge fish swimming in this river. Sometimes left bank, sometimes right bank. ईश्वरा गुणर्गुणम, बस एक ही बात है. Because there is no river without both the banks anyway. Are you getting that? This has to be integrated. These are the problem areas. I'm glad you raised that question, because these are the problem areas in understanding Vedanta. This is where people will get stuck. Either they lean too much to Ishvara's side and they can't accept that Nirgunatvam. I found this with many religious people. Or you are comfortable with the idea of Brahman, not understanding, idea of Brahman. But this goes out of the picture. If Ishvara goes out of the picture, you can't have Sarvatma Bhava. I am everything you will never be able to say. And if consciousness is not taken into account, Advaita will not happen. Both ways you will get stuck. Is this clear up to now? No? Okay.
Swamiji, I just had a question or a
Yeah.
clarification.
Should.
So in the whole model describe of Akasha, Vayu, Vayu, Agni, and then after that, after Panchikaranam is when the mind, etc. is
Mind before, body, etc. after Panchikaranam. Yeah.
So, sorry, the mind gets formed. So that model seems to imply that insentiency comes before sentiency.
No, sentiency comes before, because mind is there. Consciousness is the first thing. No?
Yes.
So consciousness manifest in Maya becomes sentiency. So that comes first.
So Swamiji, just as there's a real wild thought experiment, but let us say every single individual in the universe fell asleep at the same time. So there is no manifested sentiency at that point.
Yeah, that will be true only if the whole cosmos sleeps. 14 dimensions sleep at the same time.
And assuming, this is a real wild thing, but assuming that happened.
Yeah.
So is that the equivalent of a pralayam? Or?
Yeah, if the 14 worlds go to sleep simultaneously. Yes. But 14 worlds have to sleep simultaneously. Plus Ishvara also has to sleep. Hiranyagarbha has to go to sleep. The cosmic mind has to go to sleep. In fact, that's what happens in Pralaya. Cosmic mind goes to sleep. You can be awake if you want. Cosmic mind is asleep, you are shut down. Mainframe is shut down. Where are you going to function?
So in other words, the cosmic mind is greater than the sum total of all
Yes.
individuals.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Totality is always greater than the sum total of parts. No? Synergy effect always comes in. Yeah. That's why we call synergy. No? Qualitative difference, quantitative difference I've been talking about. How quantity affects qualitative differences also. Yeah. Good. This type of thinking is necessary for Vedanta to become clear. So only with all this type of thinking Vedanta will become clear. Yeah. Because it concerns my life right now as I am here. बहुत मजा आएगा. That's why the study of Vedanta can be great fun. It's intellectually challenging, it can be great fun. Now, yeah?
Sorry, what Karthik was saying, so that will be Laya and Pralaya.
If it is at the cosmic level, it will be called Pralaya. If only you are going to sleep, it will be called Laya.
So what he's talking about
is the cosmic level.
Dimensions. Okay.
So sometimes in Vedanta things can appear a bit difficult. This is an example we give our martial arts students. The most difficult thing in martial arts is actual combat, because you get hurt. So we say, when things go difficult like that, you should be like a tiger tasting blood. all the senses come alive. I tasted blood, come on. So similarly, when there are difficult things come in Vedanta, na, your senses should all come, now I have to understand, great fun, maja aa gaya abhi. Yeah, it should be like that. Then Vedanta is very easy. Yeah. Okay. So think about it. We'll see more of it next time. Om Tat Sat.